I think here in Wales, as across the rest of the UK, remembrance is more than just a day-long thing. It's something that we think about throughout the entirety of November, and I think that's purely down to the fact that we wear the poppy all month long. Now, the Royal British Legion are celebrating 100 years of remembrance, and they're the charity behind the poppy. They essentially do this poppy appeal every single year, raising money for our armed forces communities and their families, past and present. And I've spent quite a bit of time with them over the last week or so on their launch of the Cardiff Poppy Day, as well as the opening of the Field of Remembrance in Cardiff Castle. And they do some incredible things to ensure that every year we're remembering in the same way. Now, I had a chat to broadcaster Nobel OBE about how he thinks we'll be remembering in 100 years' time.
Well, looking forward 100 years, I wonder, but I would hope so, really, because, it's a matter of heritage, it's a matter of importance. And it's odd, isn't it? Last year, of course, the Royal British Legion suffered like all other charities because of the pandemic. However, it's odd, now this year, it's a double boost in so much that it's the 100th anniversary of both the Legion and the Poppy. And, it comes from, well, the inspiration of the Canadian colonel, the surgeon, who wrote, in Flanders Fields, where poppies blow, between the crosses, row on row. And he himself was killed before the war ended as well. But that has stuck in the minds and psyche of people now. And actually, the poppy is for two reasons. It shows remembrance and hope for the future as well. But it also sort of cherishes the memory of those who gave the ultimate sacrifice, and also honours as well the need to pledge help for those who took part and now are suffering because of it in various ways. You can't look forward to where you're going without making note of where you've been and where you are now. And you always have to sort of respect your heritage and your background. And for those who have sacrificed, on your behalf, it's always important. And for those who said, for instance, that the many memorial programs on television and radio for the First World War, which went on for 4 years, people said, oh, well, youngsters won't be interested in that. They were desperately interested in it throughout the 4 years, and they are in this as well. They will respect the memory of what has happened and what people have done for them. Well, in our family, we didn't have direct military sort of connection. But in the 2 minutes of silence, there is reflection. You know of people who took part. You know of families who lost loved ones, of course, during the war. But oddly enough, in that we've suffered from the pandemic, a lot of families have lost people through COVID-19. And their memories will slip in as well to take their place alongside the others in a private and personal way.
Now, I also spoke to Hannah Blythen, the Deputy Minister for Social Partnerships, about how she feels as we celebrate Remembrance Day today.
Wearing the poppy is a way that we can all do our bit, not only to reflect and to remember those who served and those who've made the ultimate sacrifice to keep us safe, but also to help raise vital funds for the Royal British Legion, which is celebrating its incredible 100th anniversary this year. During the height of the pandemic, we called on the expertise and the skills of our armed forces personnel to help with logistics and to getting vaccinations out there and things like PPE. And it's it's really important that we recognise the role that the armed forces community play in different circumstances. That's helping us and keeping us safe at home in our communities here in Wales and across the country, but also the role they play in peacekeeping missions around the world as well. I think it's a time to reflect, I think, for all of us on perhaps people we have known who served. My great-uncle Tommy is still going strong. He's in his 90s, and the pandemic didn't keep him away from the Remembrance Service. Last year turned up with his walker and his mask on, but he was involved with the D-Day landings along with his cousin and his uncle, and unfortunately they all came home safely, but many didn't. So I think it's a chance for us to reflect on those personal experiences, but really to think about those who've lost loved ones or have lost their lives themselves.
Now, I'm down at Cardiff Central train station this morning, as I'll shortly be interviewing the First Minister on a platform just behind me. He is placing a wreath of poppies on a Great Western Railway train, which is heading to Paddington from Cardiff, and that wreath will be placed at the Cenotaph later today. So I will have that interview for you just after 11 o'clock.